Hello and welcome back to Everlasting Summer. So, what do we want to go to next? The music club? The music club, a small one-level building, was located some distance from the other camp buildings. I opened the door and entered without hesitation. There were enough instruments for a whole orchestra here. Drums, guitars, even a piano. I spent some time looking closely at every instrument, wanting to guess the time period they were from, but suddenly I heard a crawling sound coming from underneath the piano. A girl. It seems like she was looking for something. She was standing on all fours in such a suggestive pose that I hesitated to speak at first. Excuse me? Ah! Who's there? She tried to stand up, but the bottom of the piano prevented her from doing so. Slight typo in the translation there. Ouch! She struggled out. Oh, sorry I scared you. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, you got a checklist. You must be new here. Yes. My name's Miku. No, really, I'm serious. Nobody believes me, but it is my real name. My mother's Japanese, and my dad met her when he was building, and... well, it wasn't him who was building. He's an engineer. And he was working on this nuclear power plant there. Or a dam, or a bridge, or... whatever. She was talking She was talking so fast that she swallowed half the words she tried to pronounce. I'm Semyon. Great! Want to be in a club? It's only me here for now, but it'll be the two of us then. Do you play anything? When I became an antisocial, I bought a guitar and learned a few chords, but, well, then I forgot about it, since I quit everything that required more than a couple of hours to learn. You know, I wasn't planning on doing anything like that, really. Oh, it's okay, I'll teach you. Maybe a trumpet, for example? Oh, how about a violin? I know it all, honestly. There was no point to arguing with the orchestra girl, since there was only another cascade of words waiting to blast at me. Hey, I'll think about it. Can you just sign it for now? Yes, sure, give it to me. But be sure to come around, I'll sing you some Japanese folk songs. Or maybe if you're not into that, something more contemporary? Sure, thanks, I've got to go now. Of course, come any time. The end of a sentence stayed inside. It might be nice to hang around with a guitar in the evening, but in such company? I turned to leave and came face to face with Alyssia. She eyed me suspiciously. Why did you come? The checklist? Got it signed? Yes. Then move it? Alyssia went inside and I hurried to leave the place. Okay, so we've had one bit of kind of shameless fan service, but as I say, on the fan service scale, this is still way below the dreck we were dealing with last week, so... willing to let it get away with it for now. Right, the infirmary was next on the checklist. Oh, what's the point in visiting the infirmary? My health was fine, and the fresh local air clearly did me some good. I mean, I feel fresher than usual. But I just have to visit it. I entered. A common infirmary. Infirmary? A common infirmary, like my school doctor's room. A middle-aged woman sat at the table. Obviously she was a nurse. She gazed intently at me, assessed me while continuing to write something. Well, hello, pioneer, said the nurse without being distracted from her work. Good afternoon, ma'am. I have something. Sit down, please. I looked around the room. On the couch. I sat down. Strip. She said all of it with an even tone. What for? To inspect, osculate? No, I have no goddamn clue. To inspect, to check on your health, you know. By the way, my name is Violetta. You may call me Viola. She turned to me. What are you waiting for? Strip. But I have no health issues. I've got this. I neatly gave her the paper. Later. She took the stethoscope from her neck, seeming like she intended to probe me with it. But then, someone knocked at the door, and the nurse answered unwillingly. Come in! In a moment, the door opened wildly. An electronic rushed inside. Hello. I fell during a football game. Nothing, of course, I'm okay, but, Olga... There was a massive bruise under Electronic's eye. I doubt that could be a football injury. Oh, sit down. I'll have a look, she said to him. And you, pass me your checklist. The nurse quickly signed it and continued. If something hurts, come to me immediately. Pioneer. I've just noticed her eyes are different colours. I'm assuming that's on purpose. That's a little creepy. I decided not to answer and went out, closing the door behind me. That nurse is surely something else. Actually, I love reading, but spending my days in a library under the current circumstances was well beyond my scope, so I better hurry up with this checkpoint. As I stepped inside, a memory from my childhood emerged in my head. It was very vivid. I'm 7, maybe 8 years old. I'm at the library with my mother. And while she's looking through the books I might need for my studies, I'm sitting in the corner, looking through their collection of comic books. Back then I didn't know why they had so many, or why I couldn't take some with me. The notion of collective property was something that, well, my mind hadn't quite grasped at that age. However, back then, the whole concept of property was hazy to me. This memory seemed even stranger now, while I was standing in this particular camp, where they might have managed to build communism in 3 years. Soviet symbolism was all over the place, and the shelves were full of related literature. Of course, I wasn't planning to read any of these. Getting acquainted with a full collection of books by Marx was the last thing on earth I was thinking. I wonder where the librarian is. I didn't spend too much time looking for her. I looked closely. Short hair, thick glasses, rather cute face. She was snoring so peacefully that I just couldn't wake her up. I can wait. If she doesn't wake up in half an hour, maybe then. I couldn't just sit there, so I took a random book from the nearest bookshelf. Arthur Schopenhauer, The World as Will and Representation. I opened it roughly in the middle and started reading. The life of a man, with its endless upkeep, wants and suffering, is to be regarded as the explanation and paraphrase of the procreative act, i.e. the absolute claim of the will to live. And furthermore, it is also the reason the man owes nature his death, and thinks with anxiety of this debt. Is this not the evidence of our existence involves guilt? At any rate, we always exist, and from time to time, paying with the death of our birth, we always exist, and ultimately bear all the joy and sorrow of life, since neither of both of us can pass us without some effect. That is the result of our stated will to live. And thus fear of death, which in spite of all the miseries that life holds for us firmly to it, is really elusive, but just as elusive is the impulse which has attracted us into it. This attraction itself may be seen objectively as the mutual longing glances of two lovers, and they are the purest expression of the will to live, in its affirmation, and how gentle and tender it is. It wants happiness, and quiet pleasure, and mild joys for itself, for others, and for all. Someone knocked on the door. I closed the book quickly and put it back in its place. What a nice habit, knocking on the door. I really should pick it up. It was Lena. Oh! Hi. I smiled. Hi, I just wanted to return a book. She had the copy of Gone with the Wind that I saw yesterday. Oh, saying you're sleeping. I'll come back later. I'm awake. I turned around in surprise to look at her, and she eyed me closely from behind her table. What is it you wanted? I needed you to check here. Oh, give it here. She quickly signed the paper and gave it back to me, and she had this look on her face that made me want to keep quiet. Lena came up to her to return her book, and I thanked Xenia and went out. Finally, I'd got all the signatures. Now I had to go back to Olga and give it to her. She was sitting in front of her cabin, reading a book. Doesn't look like a good role model for the perfect pioneer she was planning to turn me into. Wonder if her responsibilities extended beyond giving fiery speeches at the lineup, scolding Ileana, and getting involved into my moral, physical, and ideological growth. Here. I offered her my checklist, and she placed it in her pocket without even looking at the signatures. Great. Could have signed it myself without going anywhere. Perfect. So, did you meet our nurse? Yes. For some reason, her question sent shivers down my spine. Which club have you signed up for? I didn't. I need to think first. That's a pity. It's vital for you to sign in somewhere tomorrow. Of course, sure. Right, it's time to go to dinner. Bad time, I was getting hungry. I headed for the canteen together with Olga. I looked at the sky and noticed that the sun was already setting. On the porch stood Alyssia and Electronic, Ileana and Slavia, and as we came up I heard what they were talking about. And never call me David Char again or you'll get one. I didn't call you that, you're hearing things. He did, I heard it all. You weren't even there. Oh, I was in the bushes. Come on, you guys, stop it. So it wasn't a football injury Electronic suffered earlier today. Nurse did a good job, I can't even see his black eye. Olga came up and asked them about the ruckus. What happened? Alyssia and Cheesecough. I didn't do anything. She shrugged with antipathy and went inside. Right, dinner time. I entered last, and there weren't too many free seats. But there were a few free chairs near Alyssia across the canteen, but well, I'd sooner starve for a week or two than risk my head near her. There was also a seat near Ileana, but I'm not into traditional Chinese whatever Coral's cuisine. Finally, a free chair near Miku. Looks like I'm going to have to pick my poison. You mind if I sit here? Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, no, I don't mind. I mean, yes, yes, you can sit here. I sat down. Look, it's buckwheat today. Do you like buckwheat and chicken? I don't like chicken. Well, not that I don't like it, but if you ask me, I would prefer, I say, stroganoff beef or ragu. No, maybe a hamburger or a rump steak. Do you like rump steak? I'm not that picky about my food. That's the simple truth. Oh, is that 48 kopecks? Okay, apparently these are brands from the Soviet Union. Oh, is that so? But the desserts, you know, they're really good here, like ice cream. Do you like ice cream? I just love 48 kopecks and Linus Stragov. Oh, sorry, I keep talking about myself. Maybe you like Eskimo better. Dinner was starting to get on my nerves thanks to such company. I'm not the kind of person who could just ignore someone who's talking to them. Even her. We're at the same table, after all. You know, I once bought a waffle cone and started eating, and then, you know what, I found a screw in there, a real screw. Can you imagine that? Or was it a bolt? I don't really know. The screws are those that you can tighten up with screwdrivers, and bolts are those you turn with a wrench, yes? If there was a speed eating contest going on, I would probably be the top 3 winners by now. Right, are we going? Enjoy your meal. I got up and headed outside. Miku was saying something, but her words were drowned out by the crowd of loudly dining pioneers. I went outside and sat on the stairs and waited for my dinner to settle down a bit. I just sat there, watched the night falling. Everything's so lively here during the day. Kids laughing, yelling happily, fooling and running around, constant chatter, games going on, swimming at the beach. But after dark the camp changes entirely, and the sounds of the day were swapped for silence, only now and then broken by crickets chirping or a night bird. The camp was going to sleep, and in every shadow you could see things. Maybe a ghost or a spirit of the forest, a wild animal. A human being would be the last thing to expect. This is how it looked last night, and now. The locals follow their routine very strictly. In the day the camp was theirs, but in the night it belonged to the forces of nature more than to humans. Someone touched my shoulder, and I looked back. It was Electronic. Let's go play cards. Cards? Yep, I invented a new game. Good one. Good, like how? Well, first we've got to find the cards, then I'll tell you. Then go find them, what's the problem? Oh, Olga has them and she won't give them to me. Why? Well, the last time when Olga and Slavia came out onto the porch. Olga! Semyon just wanted to ask you about the possibility of getting playing cards. Actually, for what purpose? We invented a new game. Not we, you did. What game? I need the cards to show you. I don't like this. Well, if Semyon is with you, then perhaps it's okay. To be really honest, we'll go fetch them together, Olga. Let's go get the cards with her, if you don't mind. Sure, let's go. We headed towards my cabin, and roughly halfway there, Slavia stopped. Hey, I just remembered, the cards are in my cabin. Good timing. And where's that? It's just down this road, let's go. We reached a cabin that, well, in fact, looked more like a trailer. Just wait here for a minute, I'll be back. It took her just a few seconds to come back. There! She showed me a deck of pretty worn-out cards. These must be marked in and out. That's unsportsmanlike. What happened to fair play? Tell me about it. How's cheap when you don't know the rules? Shall we go? Yeah, let's go. On our way back, I decided to try and find out about something. So, how long have you been here? In this camp? About a week. I see. Where did you come from? Oh, from the north. That is... the cold north. She looked at me and smiled. Looks like nobody in this camp's inclined to answer even the most innocent of questions. I tried to approach from another angle. And what do you like? What do you mean? Well, your hobbies. Oh, I like nature. Strange. She's not very talkative today for some reason. Nature, I see. So you want to become a natural historian? More like a normal historian. I was always interested in our nation's history. That would suit her well indeed. It appeared that among all the locals, she was the only one who had nothing to hide. What if she came here just like me and just couldn't trust anyone enough to tell? I tried testing the waters. And why did you choose this camp? Well, I didn't. My parents got a voucher for me from their work. Another failure. Well, if you could choose, it's nice here. I don't think I would choose some other place if I could. Here it's like you're becoming another person. That wasn't how I saw it. What do you mean, another person? Well, it's just that there's so many possibilities. You can learn so much, meet so many new interesting people here. Now she started to sound like our chief, which, well, that raised a red flag for me. I decided to stop the questions for now. When we came back, Olga told Slavia. I just remembered that the cards are at your place. It's okay, we got it. Oh, good, good. Slavia and Olga went inside, and I was going to follow, but someone grabbed my hand. Alyssia. Her gaze sent a shiver down my spine, and not a nice one. You want something? I asked her carefully. You're going to play this stupid game. Yes, something wrong with that? No, nothing. She was turning to leave, but then slowly looked back and smiled. So you play cards? A little. I couldn't figure out what she wanted. So, only Durak and that's it? As if you're a poker star. Well, yes, technically. Then you don't have a chance. Why? Because. So you know the rules. Of course. Well, then you'll have the upper hand. I couldn't see why we would go on talking and motion towards the door. Why do you keep trying to leave? Is there anything else you want to talk about? Let's make a bet. What do you mean? You're such a slowpoke. The cards, what else? What do you want to bet on? That I'll win? That's quite a possible outcome. I agreed calmly. So you are afraid? No, I'm not. I'm just not big on bets where I don't like my chances. And you're not big on taking risks too? Such an astute observation. I'm impressed. Right then, No, you're not. Now what? I sighed in exhaustion. It was starting to annoy me with rubbish talk about some pointless bet. If you want to bet with me, I'll tell everyone you tried to seduce me. What? You heard me? Oh, I really could imagine her doing that. Don't be stupid. Who's going to believe you? I've been here less than 2 days. Besides, you want to try your luck? Right. And what'll happen if I win? I won't tell anyone anything. And if I lose? Slowpoke mode again. I'll tell everyone you tried to seduce me. I told you already. So you're telling me now that I have to work to prove that I didn't do something when I didn't actually do it. If that's how you want to look at it. Not a simple decision. On the other hand, it was stupid to agree. I didn't know the rules, and gambling really wasn't my thing. On the other hand, she really could make my life hell. Then again, can I even trust her? She could do it even if I win. So, have you made a decision? I was going to answer, but suddenly Lena came around from me from behind. What? Nothing! Lena hurried inside. So? I am not going to bet with her. This is a bad idea. No, I'm not going to participate in your shady business. Sorry about that. You wuss! She shrugged and went up the stairs. Before she went inside, she flung at me. Prepare to face the consequences? Consequences? What if I made the wrong decision? After all, she really can complicate things for me here. On the other hand, I couldn't just allow myself to be pulled into something so reckless. Oh, I let out a heavy sigh and followed her through the door. Inside, everything was ready, and a few parties stood here and there, chatting. The tables were moved out the way to make room for players and spectators. I looked around. Something was going on in the far corner. When I came closer, I saw a large piece of paper with a diagram drawn on it. My name was among the players. And who came up with all this? I patted the electronic who was standing near. Well, of course it was your most humble servant. He bowed to me jokingly. This was uncomfortable to the point of squirming. And why in the world am I among the players then? I was disappointed. A few seconds ago I thought I still had a slim chance to evade this tournament. Then I wouldn't have to fear Alyssia's revenge for not betting with her. But now that hope was gone. Oh, it was pure coincidence. Yeah, right, coincidence. Except that I was already acquainted with every one of the contestants. Well, there were a few dozen pioneers standing in the room. I was seized by anxiety. It's the feeling of being watched while standing in an empty room with no windows and doors. Will there be a prize? I asked him lazily. I wanted to distract myself with a pointless conversation. Electronic was just about to answer when Ileana came out of nowhere and started jumping around him. Prizes! Prizes! I heard something about prizes! Do you know what the main ethos of the Olympic Games? What? No. You'll understand when you grow up. She made a wry face and jabbed Electronic in the ribs. So what about the prize? Well, I don't know. No. You only get the prize when you decapitate all the other immortals. That's the thing to remember about the prize. It's not up to me. He made a helpless gesture. Really, if they came up with this stupid game, they could at least give the winner a chocolate medal or something. Ileana suddenly jumped and raced off somewhere. I wish I was that optimistic. So what about the rules? Wait a bit. Not everyone's here yet. I looked around the canteen. Alyssia, Silvera, Lena, Miku and Shurik were here. Seems like everyone's here. Not everyone. Xenia isn't here. Do you feel uneasy or is it just me? She's not here, so what? Pick someone else instead. No, I can't do that, he answered slowly. I decided not to ask exactly why he couldn't do it. Well, go fetch her or something, I don't know. He can't go, he's the host of the event. The camp leader appeared as if from nowhere. But Olga... Electronic whined. Semyon will go. Right, Semyon? She looked at me and smiled. Of course, who else? Where is she? In the library, I guess. Okay. I dragged my feet towards the door. Please hurry! What's Electronic's problem, anyway? Night is coming soon. I was going to take my time, so I paced towards the library. But I found Xenia before I even expected. She was sitting on a bench at the square, staring at Genda, who was silent as always. What are you doing here? Everyone's looking for you. Sitting here, as you can see, she frowned. Well, let's go. I don't want to. She looked away. Why not? I don't want to. I sat beside her. Listen, I don't like the idea of this contest myself, but we can't let everyone down. I surely didn't like the sound of myself here. A couple of days ago, I wouldn't have even thought of saying something like that. Xenia looked at me with surprise in her face. So, everyone's waiting for me? Isn't that exactly what I said? Yes. I won't go anyway. She frowned and hid her face. Why? I gestured with my arms, wondering. I don't know how to play cards. So what? Same problem here. Then how can you play? What, you can only do things that you read about in books or something? Of course. She was surprised. I wonder if you end up in Antarctica, having to rely on hunting polar bears to survive. Polar bears don't live in Antarctica. Xenia smiled. It doesn't matter, it's just an example. Oh, come on, it's not like someone else's life depends on the result. She took her time to think. I just don't want to let anyone down. Right. I agreed sarcastically. But don't you think anything funny about that? I didn't get what she meant, but anyway. Obviously everyone has their weak spots. In a minute, we were both back at the canteen. Everyone looked at Electronic. So, he cleared his throat. Each round consists of one game. In case of a draw, you replay the game. After this, the loser drops out and the next round begins. Since the number of volunteers, he looked at me, since the number of players is just 8, we'll have 3 rounds. Is everything clear? The crowd cheered. And what are the prizes? The prizes, what are they? Ileana, cut it out. Slavia slipped forward and tried to catch Ileana. I won't rest until the prize is mine. Okay, guys, let's keep her away from any katanas, just in case. Incidentally, if anybody doesn't know what I'm referencing by now, it's Highlander. Great film, terrible fight choreography. It seemed like this little girl alone had enough energy for a warp jump to Alpha Centauri. Prizes! Prizes! She repeated it over and over. Stop it! Slavia tried to reason with her. Electronic seemed to be getting dizzy from all this running around. Let's start already, I said calmly and added to Ileana, or you won't get any prizes. Looks like my argument got through to her, so she took her place. Slavia followed her and gave me a grateful smile as she passed. And the pioneers finally settled down. I approached the table that Lena sat behind. You don't mind? She looked up and blushed. Don't worry, I don't know the rules myself. How can I be sure that it's not only myself? I sat down. Turns out we'll have to play the first round together. Yes. Finally, Electronic started to explain the rules. Ooh, an actual game, possibly. Look at the cards carefully. There are exactly 6 of them in front of you. And I hope everyone here knows how to count. Now you can look at them. After everyone had had a look at their cards, Electronic moved on. The rules are similar to poker. I hope everyone knows how to play. I knew the rules, but I wasn't sure about the others. First of all, it's a top card, then 1 pair, then 2 pairs, and 3 of a kind, and so on. No flushes or straights, though. In the first round, you choose a card which you would like to take from your opponent. In turn, your opponent can choose to swap 2 of his cards around twice. Or he can choose not to do so, if he doesn't need the card you are taking. Take note here that your opponent can see which cards are trading places. In the next step, your opponent takes a card he chooses, and so on. I think that's pretty clear. Well, it wasn't too clear to me. Hey you, Einstein! Ileana yelled at him from under her table. I didn't get a thing! You'll figure it out as we go. Electronic went to the table with a diagram, leaving Ileana to smoulder in solitude. You go first. I hope I could get my mind around the game fast enough. Ileana, more perplexed than usual, reached out for my cards. In the middle of the table, her hand stopped. Will you? Oh yeah, I should be protecting my card. What was it Electronic said? Try to confuse my opponent, I can swap 2 of my cards. Twice. Or I can choose not to. Should I protect it or not? By the way, I can also agree and give her the card she chose straight away. Otherwise, Lena can change her mind and take another card if she wants to. Or she might not. Okay, I've got a pair of 9s, and it feels like hanging on to those 9s would be useful, so... let's swap those 2 around. Don't want to take in that 9 either, so let's do that. Okay, she can have that 6. Yeah, things were becoming clear. Or at least comprehensible. Now it's my turn. I can take back my card from her, or I can choose another one. Okay, that's the 6 she just took. So I think I'll have that card. Lena can try and protect her card, but if I watch her closely, I can take the card and I choose regardless of her movements. Yep, I will have that one. It's a 3. I made it. Electronic, who was silently watching our game, nodded in approval. Looks like we're getting somewhere. Now, during the round, opponents trade cards 3 times, keeping an eye on each other. Penetrate your opponent with your eyes. I chuckled. Penetrate. What's so funny? Never mind. I tried to keep a straight face, and he stared at me for a moment and then moved on. And then we turned the cards up to see whose hand is better. Electronic went back to his diagram. Okay, so I've now got completely different cards, but that's okay. We've got an ace, a jack, a king, a queen, and... okay, we've got a pair of aces. I think I'm going to let her have that jack. Nope, wrong thing. First defense, okay. So you can have that card. Got a pair of aces, so I think I will have that one. She apparently doesn't mind me getting that one, but I have no idea what it is. It's another ace, fantastic. Yeah, you can have that queen. Now then... I'll have this card. No idea what it is. Okay, we've got a full house. Okay, let's try and hang on to our 3 aces. So swap those. Swap those. Lost one of the aces, but that's okay. I can take that ace back. That's that one. I'll have my ace back. And I won. Quite decisively, in fact. Well, that went well. I won. Seriously. It's hard to play a game that was made up on the spot, and not by herself either. But I won. Although the moment of glory was tainted by the fact that it was Lena who was the loser. She's not very confident in general, but now she's lost. I'm too embarrassed to even look at her now. Probably should have lost to boost her self-esteem. Meanwhile, Electronic proudly announced that the first round is over. A list of all those who made it to the second round appeared on the scheme after a little while. Semi-final pair consisted of Alyssia versus Xenia and Ileana versus me. A doomed sigh escaped from me. Yup, and I think we will face her down in this card battle in the next video. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next part.